Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What horrible thing happened to you as a kid and you didn't realize the severity of it until you got older? Our babysitter died while she was watching us when my twin and I were 3. We had no concept of death, and tried to wake her up. She had spilled water when she fell, and I still remember getting a dish towel to wipe it up, thinking she would be proud of how responsible I was being. I remember going to get our little toy pots and pans to bang together to make noise to wake her up. We had no idea what a heart attack was. Holy fuck. There's a lot of dark sad shit in this thread, but this one is gonna haunt me for some reason. Probably because the innocence of the children against such a harsh reality is difficult to wrap your brain around. Mom took me along when she was buying drugs. Took me 30 years to realize waiting at a gas station at 6 a.m. on a Saturday wasn't a thing. And neither was driving way into the ghetto and having her friend drive around the block with us. Turns out not everyone sleeps on their laundry and goes right to bed when they get home every day either. Oh man, same here. Also not normal to take your kids with you, park the car and go into a friend's house for hours at a time while we wait in the car. Many things add up as we get older. Things I'm still piecing together today. My ex's mom used to leave him and his little sister in the car outside various bars. His main memories of this was his desperation to keep his sister warm when it was 5 or 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, we got to go in the drug houses and hang out with all the other addicts' kids. Infants to age 12 maybe, and varying levels of violent. We were fighting for our lives in those basements. Lol. Ooh, I relate to this one. I remember camping trips with my mother 2 or 3 times. We went on road trips together when I was something like 6. Turns out it was to smuggle heroin. Who's gonna stop a woman alone with her cute 6-year-old daughter? Amarit. Jesus fucking Christ. It took me almost 25 years to realize that alcoholic parents aren't normal and other people have it different. I remember asking a friend how many times they'd seen their parents drunk in their life when I was 16 or 17. When they said a handful, I kinda knew I'd been fucked. My dad had driven while drunk with me in the back more times than they'd even seen their parents intoxicated. It killed him a few years ago. Not while driving, like organ failure. People don't notice it as much if they're all extroverted and likable when they're intoxicated. Lost my dad to alcohol-induced dementia in July. No funeral because he really had no friends because he was in a relationship with gin. Found out after he died he had been sexually abused as a kid. Not condoning his behavior, but it made me a lot more understanding. Having a cluttered house, and needing to spend a few hours carrying everything from the living room into my bedroom to make the living room appropriate for guests. I would sob and beg for it not to go into my room because I knew it would never leave. And the living room would get filled again with TJ Maxx bags and garbage we don't need. Turned out a hoarded house isn't normal, and it made me a pretty awful roommate to my friends in my teen years. Ugh. Every year we went to summer camp for 1 week. And our rooms were taken over immediately with my mom's stuff. It took the other 51 weeks to throw it away slowly so that she wouldn't notice it in the garbage. My hoarder mom went back to England for a funeral, and my father had a huge garbage bin delivered so that we could unhoard the house. We filled that bin 3 times over, and we didn't even really get to cleaning as we were ensuring nothing of real value was thrown out. When my mother returned, she had a complete meltdown. I still have a scar on my head from her hurling a chair at me as the police were arriving. 16 stitches and so much guilt. Like 15-year-old me thought I deserved to be chaired by this gremlin. I'm better now, but your comment really triggered that memory. A lot of people are unaware of the fact that hoarding is a symptom of OCD. Real OCD. And not the pop psychology OCD that people claim they have. My bio mom was a hoarder. And she had other OCD symptoms as well. Everyone was expected to count the stairs as we climbed them. Out loud. And one at a time. With no other options. Always monitoring the location of every person at every time. Which was much harder in the 1970s than today. Needing someone else to dial the rotary phone for them. Because certain phone numbers were just wrong, for various reasons. Too many odd numbers. The pattern the dial sounds made was summoning demons. Too many of the same number in a row. That sort of thing. Agreed. My mom has OCD with hoarding complex. And the lack of awareness that people aren't hoarders from lack of care is infuriating to me. Mine has thankfully been able to work through a lot of it, but still struggles. It's miles better than it's been, though. Yet, people still make jokes about the Hoarders TV show when they see our spaces. That are nowhere near comparable. I've got many of those traits that I've thankfully been somewhat able to work past. It's absolutely not a cute symptom of mental illness. Everybody involved is aware of that. People deserve compassion and help, not judgment and shame. It's already hard enough living with and confronting those issues. Adopted. Stepdad punished me by forcing me to watch them shoot my dog. I was told he was going to do it about 10 hours beforehand, and he made me dig a hole out in our pasture. Evening comes and he drags her out there, absolutely oblivious as to what is going to happen. He threatened to shoot me when I refused to go out there with him, so what could I do? I tried looking away, but he told me I'd have to watch or I'd get it too. So he held his rifle up to her head and pulled the trigger once. Then a second time after she hit the ground. I then spent the next hour pulling her body into the hole I had dug and buried her. She was a Great Dane, just over a year old. I was 11. Parents got the dog but then passed the responsibility of her onto me because they were too busy to take care of her. I'm 17 now, but that shit still fucks me up. I got out of there a few years ago and was shocked that nobody else could relate to what I went through. Edit. This all occurred about 6 years ago. I appreciate the kind comments I have received. I always thought it was my fault and that I should have done differently. I do not live with them, or near them, anymore. I live with my grandparents who are disgusted by how I was treated. Dude, 17 is still young AF. Make sure you deal with that shit and have a good cry about lost childhood years. Get angry at those who wronged you and then try to let it go. That shit is torture and no one ever deserves to be treated like that. Yeah, for real, this one hits hard cause he's basically still a kid. I know everyone else is saying this. But just to add the supportive chorus. Your stepdad is a truly evil man who deserves nothing but pain for the rest of his miserable life. And you and Luna did not at all deserve what he did. I hope you heal. And I hope your stepdad gets slowly eaten alive by coyotes. What a vile piece of shit. Exclamation mark. I am so sorry you went through that crying. It's honestly barbaric. You teach a kid this shit at this age, and this man, he's lucky the kid didn't snap and attack him later in life. This made me get up and take a walk. Holy shit, I'm so sorry, bro.